the new this thing is like tilted. If you look at this angle, it's like tilted. If you look at the picture, it's like 5 degrees tilted to the left. I think it's because of the mount, so you might have to readjust the legs. That looks a lot better. Whatever you just did, leave it.
What if I just have everyone do this?
Everyone the whole time just like lean slightly to the right.
Well, the picture's leaning anyway.
Hey, I want that.
All right, well, we're
Why didn't you give that to me?
All right, we're live right now, so because we got to send out the link. So
Is anybody on?
me.
We can test it, right? So you've already sent the link, right?
And we're doing that right now.
And then have the social media team. Do they have the link? Right here on social media.
I'm sending it to them right now. So.
Oh, you guys got it now?
Yeah, just it's going in and out.
Wait, so I have a question. Is this what's appearing on the live stream? And this just shows you what you could, like, you can adjust the ratio. Alright, I'm gonna go.
I talk about it for a minute, but I won't wear it.
Okay. Now we should have you wear your influence shirt. Actually, I have you wear this.
No.
Check. Start seeing. you don't have to learn to sit up front.
Yeah, it's only like 1 feet back. Or no, when you step right in front, the stand still a little reserved, go 1 feet back. And I'll kind of step it out.
Around those when I went to school. So I fill all the front seats. All the front seats. How are you?
I said hello to you before.
Yes.
No, it's okay. I was like,
Come on in. Not making money yet. Those seats filled up front. Somebody can sit up there. Don't be shy. You're just going to be on television. You've all been on television before. You're all influencers. Carrie, sit up front. Can you fill those front seats for you? Any seats in front you can fill? First time in a live studio audience? All right. We're broadcasting, so it's all about energy. So as we announce people when they're coming in, we want to give them a round of applause. Can we practice it? Just so we'll just pretend. You guys have done this before. I'll have Bruce run it. We'll do rodeo later. All right, so we're super excited. Just getting ready to blast off here. Okay, come on in. Boy, a couple of beers and she just is ready to roll. How are we doing? 8 minutes? All right, let's cover a couple logistics before everybody online gets in. So, super quick, as soon as we're done with our panel, we're going to be giving away some prizes. So who wants to win some prizes? I just want to see who wants. Manny, what am I? We're also going to be bringing in Lou Malnati's pizza. Does anybody like Lou Malnati's? And don't worry, we have something for the vegans and the salad people too. We have more beer. So then that'll be cool. Oh, and then we have what's called, this is for the online folks that are starting to come out too. We have a influencer event marketing kit that we put together. So how many people actually have something to do with putting on events in here? A lot of you I know do. So this has how to fill your events, how to have more engaging events. We've actually packaged our entire process. We've packaged our checklists and a lot of other goodies. So we just want to make sure that you guys know that you're automatically going to get those because we have you registered. So congratulations. Come on in. That's going to be awesome. All right, 6 minutes. So, who here is an influencer? Okay, how come you didn't raise your hand? Everybody raise your hand. Who here is an influencer? All right, it's on your badge. I put it on there, just in case. Well, we do that because people don't count themselves as influencers. Because you have conversations, you advise people, you help people. A lot of what we do is we help people no matter where they're at to their next level of influence. Oh, yeah. So how many people in here are in here so that you can generate more sales for your company? Sales, and then we also have how many people are in here to further their career? And then how many are in charge of marketing? Right, so we all have sometimes different objectives, but you're all influencers to make those things happen. So as part of your toolkit on purpose, I put some things in the back that don't have to do with events, but they're tips that will help you develop your influence for those things. Okay? How are we doing, Jackson? All right. All set? All right, so let's go ahead and get started a few minutes early. People logging in, Jack, you good? Sounds good? Okay, cool. All right, so first and foremost, if you do have to get up during the production, thank you. So if you do have to get up during the, So if you do have to get up during the production, what we ask is that this camera is coming straight down the middle here, but it is panned on the front of the room. So does anybody feel an emergency coming on in the next 35, 40 minutes? You guys all good? Okay. You have an emergency? No. Okay. So you and back are okay because you're behind the camera, but, so we want to make sure that we don't have anybody walking in front of the camera if you can. Don't crawl. Let's see. Also, all right, let's go ahead and get set. So, in terms of really having a true audience experience, when we're asking the panelists questions, we want to make sure that you chime in. We're going to have questions that are being fed to my phone through the internet, but we want to make sure that you guys feel free to ask questions. You'll ask a question, I'll repeat that question, and we'll ask the panelists. Okay? So let's go ahead and bring our panelists in. So first and foremost, we have Sal from Meet App coming in. So Sal is our mobile specialist. Come on in, Sal. And then we have Kate Hess, our influencer marketing manager, who handles everybody's influence. One and only Manny Ortuno. So you'll notice they're all wearing influencer shades. And everybody here, when you're done, sorry folks at home, you're not going to be able to do this, but you are allowed to shoot one promo video that we will produce for you, and that's going to be in the back afterwards. So we'll come get each and every one of you, whether you're promoting your product, your next event, whatever you want to do, you're going to have that in. So, all right, so real quick, we couldn't be here without our sponsors. So we have Social Jack, of course. We have Viper Marketing, who's Manny. We have Meet App, which is the app that a lot of you downloaded and you're on right now. We have Fig Media, Michelle. From Fig Media, they do weddings, DJ, they do video production, really high-end video production, and of course, Forward Progress. So real quick, how many people downloaded the mobile app? A lot of people on the internet did. So the reason you want to download the mobile app is because you have access to each other. So I know you're going to meet a lot of people. You will be networking. That's super cool. But if you go to the mobile app and you log in, you can directly talk to each and every person, whether they're on the internet. We have over 100 some odd people registered on the internet right now. And then you can also connect to each other. So just download that mobile app when you get a chance. Just look for Social Jack and you'll be able to download that. The agenda tonight is on kind of segment one. We're going to talk about getting butts in seats. Where are your butts right now? In seats. In seats. Event management, mobile and social, and then we'll have on-premise and online experience. So we're experiencing some of that now. And then some rapid-fire questions. We're going to have some winners at the end. Who's winning prizes? Me. And everybody online, you can win too. All right? So here's our panel. I already introduced them, so we're getting ready to rock and roll. All right. So first questions we have to do with sort of getting butts in seats. So Kate Hassett is going to be the lead on this one, but of course we're going to take questions from the audience, and then panelists can also chime in on every single one. So Kate, what's the number one thing that works best to get butts in seats for an event like this?
The number one thing to get butts in seats, it's 2018, it's going to be social media. Marketing to the different social media platforms, obviously differently per your audience. Social media is great, you know, the targeting your audience in different ways, promoted posts on LinkedIn, on Facebook, but I don't think any event is successful nowadays if you don't promote it on social media. So I'd say it's number one.
So is it all free, or do you have to be paid as well?
No, I mean, promoted posts, we use those a lot, not even just for our events here, but for our clients' events. You know, Facebook is a little more budget conscious, obviously. LinkedIn tends to be a little more expensive, but you know, you can drill down to like exactly who you're looking for. Like if you need a certain type of person that you want to target, you can find them and pay for it. So yeah, promoted posts, boosted posts, things like that. But social media just as a whole, creating the event, you know, inviting people to come to the event on Facebook, you know, for the awareness, playing with your sponsors, tagging them, because when we tag Meet App, right, in a post about this event, we're getting his whole network. We're getting Sal's entire network. They're like, oh, you know, Meet App is a part of this event, and they're like, what's Social Jack? And then I like to call it the curiosity click. We want to tap into his network, so they say, what's Social Jack? And then they click on us, and then hopefully come to the event. So everything's social. It's huge. You can't have an event without social media now.
Right. And then Sal, you played with us on social media just for this event. So that means that you were tapped into our network as well. So a lot of times, you know, we see it as a partnership, right? In terms of going, that's what I think of when I hear you saying that. So every time you have sponsors and participants, like when we do event influencer marketing, want to make sure it works together. So what was that experience like for you in terms of, you know, how did you see it from your side as we were tagging you and putting posts out there?
Oh, from my perspective, it really did open up a whole other world of potential viewers, because I can always expect a certain amount of people that are going to either click like or even look at the post. But by opening it up, by tagging you guys or putting you guys in the post, now I'm opening it up to your audience, and now I'm getting people that are hitting my page. Now my page likes are going up. Obviously the post like is going up, and it just cascades from there. So.
And you know what's interesting? We're broadcasting live here from Chicago, so all of us are physically sitting here, but we actually have people that are logged in from Italy right now. So it's crazy to think that there's people on the other side of the world that can actually experience this with us, and now they know who we are, and if you log into the mobile app, now you're connected to those people in Italy too. So I want you to think of the opportunity and vastness of this for all of us. And I must say, because of you, I think we picked up Disney and JetBlue and some other folks that you're playing with. So again, it's a partnership.
Yeah, we have a lot of large corporate clients, so we get quite a bit of visibility from them. And by the way, if my family in Italy is viewing this, ciao.
I was going to say, what's Michael in Italy right now?
Yes.
Well, man, you're always in Costa Rica, so what time is it in Costa Rica? So Kate, let's hear from Manny. He's going to have to use your mic there. But so Manny, on social media, you know, you have different experiences as we do. So how do you view social media as it, you know, is involved with us?
I know, as some of you guys, everybody will get obviously my information and my links, but I'm more of an old school person, to be honest. That's how me and Katie have worked together for 15 years. I am not the best social media person, to be honest with you. I mean, I own a marketing company, and we very well. I'm a relationship person. So, for example, we have a pizza place that is kind of having some problems. One of my clients, so I just teamed them up with everybody in the area that also needed to make money. So I'm like, hey, I need you to work, and I need your event, because we had some events at his establishment that he was broadcasting to everybody. So I said, well, we have an ice cream shop on the street. You're not competing with each other, because I myself like to have pizza and then ice cream after. So if we can all work together, let's do that. So now the marketing's gonna be a lot cheaper. As opposed to me sending one person, I'm not gonna have cool. I got this going on, this, and then if you want to go out for drinks after, we're at a bar. I'm not gonna get a vodka 7-Up at the pizza place or the ice cream place. So now we're gonna get drunk after. So let's do that. So that's what I do. That's what I've always done. And then that is kind of like the old school Facebook, so to speak. It's like real Facebook. I'm way better at that. Yeah, so.
Well, and that's sort of why I mix this panel up, because we're social jack. We're really a lot about digital and social media. But those of you that have taken our training and have experienced what we do, our goal is not to keep you on social media. It's to meet and connect and get exposure and attract. And then get face to face, like Manny says. So many of us aren't good at social media, but we are good at conversations and being together. So I think that's the important part of this.
Well, and then can I say something too, and I piggyback on that? Another thing that we found tremendous success with, not just in our events, but in terms of clients, and I like how he said, you know, the face-to-face, is a freaking invitation. Like, I mean, it goes so far as we have like a scouting and drafting department where we, you know, will go into people's LinkedIns and send a personalized invitation. A lot of people probably got an invitation from Dean to this event. But to me, I mean, just in any little way you can send an invitation, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's a video promoting it online, whether it's an e-blast, whether it's a phone call. I mean, an invitation, I think that goes so far these days, whether it's digital or face-to-face book. You know, I think it's a little personal touch that a lot of people in event marketing have kind of missed down the line.
And how many people, I just thought about this, how many people, Jackson, this mic's cutting it out. Can I get something going on here? But maybe did anybody receive a call from Jen?
Yep.
Okay, so did it sound pleasant?
Very.
She's a rockin' person at that level. So I think it's important to mix that personal touch, that point of actually, hey, how you doing? So social media, mobile, the whole thing. So it's pretty cool. So as we go through this, so what's your secret? What's your secret to getting more sponsors, man? You do a lot of events like we do.
I just ultimately find out who needs the same audience that we're looking for. So we do a lot of, back in the day we did some MMA fights. I didn't fight any. So
That's how we
yeah, we did some MMA fights, and ultimately we just found out who would piggyback off of the same audience that we had. So that's just kind of the exact same thing I just said 2 seconds ago, which it's a lot more inexpensive, or a lot more, inexpensive for the people. And you get a lot more people to come, obviously, since you're all working together for the same common goal, as opposed to us trying to compete with each other, which works out for us exceptionally well.
Right, and one of the other tactics, so how many people in here would like more sponsors to do with their events, right? So in doing that, sponsors connect to other sponsors. Those are networks too. So a lot of the tactics that we use, okay, tell them a little bit about how we connect those folks together.
Yes. Well, actually, I had a different example outside of Social Jack, if that's okay. So my background is in the theme park world. I moved here from Georgia. I was doing in-house marketing for a theme park and then radio broadcast. So I kind of say that, yes, Wild Adventures Theme Park, shout out to them, the Hershey Family Entertainment Corporation. So, I said that a few times, maybe.
And we would like you to sponsor our
So this gig was kind of like a perfect merriment of like in-house marketing and then like the event marketing that I did there and then radio. And we, to piggyback off what Sal said, we saw a lot of sponsorship for events at the theme park because we were also like a concert arena, zoo, water park. We did a little bit of it all. And my marketing director would come to us a lot and say, we want to put on this event and we have zero budget, so what can you do? And it's daunting, but at the same time, it kind of gets your creative juices flowing because you have to ask for those things to get them. And so we did a really awesome Mother's Day brunch in the petting zoo one year, and we got all the food donated by a sponsor. And then so it was, you know, Mother's Day brunch brought to you by whatever restaurant, I don't even remember now, barbecue, because it was the South, right? And then carnations donated from Publix, which was the grocery store with a beautiful florist, and all the moms got carnations, and then you know, we printed like coloring pages and everybody colored their mom a picture, and we threw this fantastic event for, you know, $0 because it was all sponsors, and the sponsors were so happy to give because it wasn't like they were even giving monetarily. They were just like, yeah, here's some flowers, take it away, and they didn't have to put on the event themselves. So yeah, finding audiences that kind of align and then just asking.
I actually want to add to that because I do a lot of work with a lot of our nonprofit clients as well. And what we learned was that when they're sponsoring an event, they're usually sponsoring it for one of two reasons: either eyeballs to your audience, or for some sort of social good, which and then in that case becomes a tax write-off for the company. What we realized was that if you can actually
Yes, and then there was one.
We're down to one, guys. So what we realized was that if you can actually put a number or some sort of value on the per head of your attendees. So for instance, if you have an event that you're going after a sponsor and they find your target audience really attractive, being able to quantify it based on some sort of value per head. So if you have 500 attendees, and then being able to say, look, if you were to go to, say, some other medium and get the 500 targeted eyeballs, this is roughly how much it costs. In a lot of cases, what we're starting to see is that our nonprofits are starting to get really, really good at getting these sponsorships to not only pay for the app itself, because what they'll do is in our case, they'll put sponsorship banners in the app, they'll do sponsored push notifications through the app, and they figured out all these little ways where you can kind of inject that sponsorship visibility into the app. So now you have this really highly targeted audience during the events, and they're paying attention to everything that's going on, the banners around the venue, printouts, stuff that's going through the app. And now what you can do is you can really add that extra value to the sponsor, and in a lot of cases end up paying for the app and then some. So we have a lot of nonprofits that actually make quite a bit of money off of injecting banners or doing sponsored push notifications through their mobile app.
Right. So how do you get sponsors to repeat?
How do you get sponsors to repeat?
Yeah, to repeat.
Really, it's up to the value. It's up to how you're going to show them the value. So, I mean, are you delivering something that you can show them? For instance, like our customers can actually show the number of clicks that they were able to deliver to their website or to their marketing landing page through the app. So, in a lot of cases, they see the value add because they can see this number of people that are going through that they wouldn't get otherwise. That's really, I would say, a big plus. I mean, aside from having a banner in a venue, which is kind of the old-fashioned way of doing it, now you can actually say, you have banner placements in the mobile app, now I can actually deliver to you the number of people that have driven to your landing page or to your website. So a lot of sponsors like that.
So pass it back to me. So, man, in marketing for events, what other tools do you use? Since you're less social, what other tools do you use for marketing?
I talk a lot. For those of you that live outside, I talk a lot. That's pretty much what I do. I just do different things. What's the most recent one we had? We had a Mother's Day event. We got real estate. I do a lot of stuff with real estate agents. So when we get people, whether it be sponsors or people that are just go there to spend money, what we end up doing is, I'll explain this because I don't know what I do sometimes. The people that are going, the audience that we're trying to get to come to the real estate event in general are the same people that insurance companies want, the same people that home warranty companies want, the same people that pretty much 50 different companies want. and I happen to, through my company, tie them all together. So all I do is say, hey guys, we got this event going on in St. Charles or Bloomingdale or Oak Brook or wherever it might possibly be, and then we just invite one of each type of business and non-competing businesses. So I'm not going to invite 14 different home warranty companies. You can only get one home warranty. But I will invite one, or one that we have a good relationship with. And that ultimately just gets them to always keep coming back. And that relationship between that home warranty company, that insurance company, that real estate agent, that mortgage person, whoever it might possibly be, grows and grows and grows. And then they keep ordering and ordering and ordering, which is ultimately keeping us all employed, so to speak, which is what we do.
So we have a question from the audience. So how much should we spend on promoting our event? How do we determine our budget?
In terms of overall budget?
Yeah, like overall budget. Like, I know. Sorry, Twitter's a big space. That's a big question.
That is a lofty question. I don't have the answer for you on determining the overall budget. Obviously, you want to see some kind of ROI. You need to see some kind of ROI, or it's not a successful event. I would say my biggest tip for you in terms of overall budget, because it's gonna differ from event to event, from organization. Obviously, nonprofits probably not gonna have as much money to play with as others. I would say to spend the money on the things that matter the most. In terms of like the app, I mean, I think that Meet App is like the most fantastic thing for any networking event that we do. It pairs you with people. I mean, I can think of so many events where you have networking. We deal with a lot of like trusted advisors, like Carrie from AMAA. They have events with like the Deal Bash, where you're literally setting people up for business transactions. So something that you could spend the money on that would help those people find the people at the event that they want to meet with. I mean, invaluable. So I think you have to kind of like decide where your priorities lie, and then in terms of the things that you can cut the budget on, you need to spend a little bit of time and then test. So like social media promoted posts, for example, we will run for one event probably 5 promoted posts over the course of 5 weeks, but we do a little at a time and we test. We'll do like a $50 Facebook post, we'll bring it back, we'll look at the analytics, we'll be like, why did this do good? Was it the headline? Was Dean looking like a fool in that video? Do we need to redo it? More normally the case, right? And then we test. And then we action again. So that's my best advice. Like find out where your priorities lie, spend the money there, and then in the places you can pull back, spend a little bit and then test your results, because then you know.
It also depends on, and I'll carry you back to the real estate world. A real estate agent mortgage person is going to make a heck of a lot more money on one transaction than a home warranty company. Okay, so that being said, we know who's going to have more money to spend for whatever event that we're doing, which is ultimately going to get us to target that more. So I only need one home warranty person. Relationships, and I'm going to always kick my stuff back to talking to people. I always just, I'm a firm believer in, and this is a weird business practice apparently, but I sometimes I'll just not charge somebody when I work with them. I'm like, hey, that's just get your business built. I'm like, what? I know you're new, you don't got a lot of bucks, I'm the marketing guy, this is just my time and my brain and my people. Let's work together, get you some money, and then you pay me some money. And they're like, what do you mean, man? That's kind of how this whole company started 11 years ago. I would just go to people and say, hey, let me help you build your business, and you're going to charge me, I'm going to charge you a very, very small amount of money just to cover the cost, so to speak, and then from that it's going to grow. And then when it grows, then you pay me. And if you don't want to pay me, then I'm going to stop working.
Wait a minute, so I don't have to give you money? Viper Marketing, you don't have to give us.
Don't have to pay us.
There's
Just
a new tagline.
No, ultimately, that's not how it is. It works. And a lot of times we'll barter. So if I have somebody, me and Dean, sometimes we don't charge each other stuff, but I know, hey, Dean, you're going to help me out with this social media stuff and blast it out, and then I'll help you out with all your signage and I'll charge you. So I'm a firm believer in the barter system. So that's why these networking things are awesome and ridiculously good and talk to people. So we're out here because we're different. So we're out here because we want to learn. We're out here because we're doing different things than other people do in the world to be different than other people in the world. That being said, talk to each other, meet people, meet the guy that's the Chicago scene guy, or meet the person that's doing something from intimacy and relationship or stuff. Meet everybody here, because you never know who you're possibly there's somebody here for that intimacy and relationship. by the way, Yolanda, Gloria. I wasn't just randomly making that up because but ultimately, relationships and the barter system, and I know that's not part of what I'm supposed to talk about, but
No, but that's key. No,
that's what I do. I mean, that's how my business grew, and we do very well. For those of you that know what we do, and that just exactly is how it started. So I'm a very trusting person. I have a twin brother, very, very good-looking guy. He's not trusting. We're both. I'm marketing. He's an advertising guy, but he would never do this. And you guys are watching, love you, bro. But he's not like that. He's getting a little bit better at that. But I've always been like that. I'm a firm believer. I'm like, let me help you grow your business. Let me help you make some money. If you're going home happier with more money, then you're going to spend it with me because you know I'm the one that helped you out. Make sense?
No, I like that theme, and so let's transition a little bit, but I want to talk, because this next section on mobile and social has a lot to do about partnering, and a lot of you were selected, as well as the people online, and this is why we want you to meet each other, because you all have skills, you all have tremendous skills, and all of our skills are different. Many of us are at different levels, and like Manny said, when you meet someone here tonight, make sure you connect to the people that were virtual. And if it looks like a good partnership, get to know that person better and then connect to them on social media and take it to the next level. So that's a great invitation. But how do you see partnerships? In terms of, go for it.
Well, as some of you know who met me or just listened to me, maybe on Influence Factory, I'm new to Chicago. And so Dean and I are kind of a success story of this whole social networking thing because we found each other on LinkedIn and now I work for him. Lucky him. But so one thing I've really learned from Dean and the daunting task of like moving here across country and trying to find a job and trying to do this was, networking. If I ask Dean anything about moving into a new apartment, about anything I need to get done, he knows a guy. And that's just part
or
of
gal.
Yeah, or gal, sorry, yes, obviously. But he's collected LinkedIn ads and business cards across his career. A lot of you also probably really great at this, and it's something that I'm learning that I need to do because you just never know. I mean, to piggyback off that, you just never know who you might meet in your journey that can help you or you can help later on. And then as the world changes, like we're all transitioning careers eventually at some point, right? Like it's not like my parents' age, I'm sorry. It's not like the really old days, way back then, where you say the same.
We said back in the day.
I'm sorry, I stopped myself. It's not like it used to be, how about that, where you stayed in a career for your whole life. I mean, we see people transitioning at older ages in their life, at different points in their life, maybe didn't ever think they would. And so what's the chances that you come across somebody later on who's now doing what you're doing, or now you can work with that maybe you couldn't back then? I mean, that's a partnership to foster. And of course, on social media, so I'm going to say it, but a great way to do it is to engage online, to talk to them online, to reach out with those invitations, to message once in a while, to catch up, to set the coffee dates, bring that social back into social media, and that's how we can foster the relationships.
Yeah, Sal, so how does this sort of partnering thing work with mobile? How can you use mobile in that?
Well, there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. I mean, a lot of our customers will use their mobile apps to help facilitate that networking. So, for instance, in-app activity feeds, where it's almost like your own virtual or little private social network inside of your event. The fact of the matter is that people have really changed the way they interact. A lot of people nowadays are much more comfortable interacting through digital media. You see it nowadays, people don't want to pick up the phone, they want to text instead. So what you essentially need to do is be able to really help kind of bridge that gap, because the fact of the matter is technology isn't going to go away, and people are only going to go down that rabbit hole of habit even further. So part of it is giving them a tool to be able to make those connections. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to be on you and your personality to be able to eventually walk up to somebody and shake their hand and say, hey, great post, or hey, thanks for connecting with me. But that introduction, that touch point, where you're able to connect with them and in a low-stress way, whether it's posting and seeing that somebody liked it, or whether it's being part of an in-app conversation. We see it a lot, even with the way some of our event planners will set up their dialoguing during like a session. So what they'll do is they'll actually break up the audience into teams of 5 or 10 and force them to work together. So for instance, we actually have a medical organization that uses it where what they'll do is every month they have a professional development, these professional development events. And they'll get like about 50 to 100 cardiologists in a room, they'll break them up into teams, and literally through the app, they'll just send a push notification to everyone with some theoretical medical issue. And these teams of 5 now have to work together to come up with a solution and then submit it into the app, and it shows up on the screen. Now, they then have a conversation about that. They'll pick maybe the 2 or 3 best responses and then have a conversation. But these little activities, what it's doing is it's helping bring these people together. People that might not work together, they may not interact in regular social life or work life, but now they're starting to work together to come up with solutions. There's a lot of different ways with mobile that you can really kind of bring people together. And that mobile point, though, is just that, is the facilitator. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to be on you.
Yeah, that's interesting because, well, from our world, until we met you, the mobile app. And Meet app is the engine behind the Social Jack event app that a lot of you have used in our events. Is we always saw people connect through hashtags. So we use hashtag Influence Factory for our show, for our events and things like that, and people collect on there. But it's a fact, as much as we want people to talk to us on Twitter, on social media, not everybody wants to talk to us on social media. But I think the mobile app feels like it gives a safe, contained space, right? I mean, is that what you're seeing? Like,
actually, that's why we built it. So that activity feed is something that we built about 1.5 years ago. And the reason why was because what we learned from a lot of our customers, especially our corporate customers, so our larger enterprise customers came back to us and said, look, we love the idea of interacting like social media, because it feels natural to people now, but we don't necessarily want all our stuff out on social media, not during the event. Some of these events are private events. They have a lot of sensitive information that they're distributing about company processes or company information. So what we did was we built that activity feed to essentially act like social media. You can post, you can comment on people's posts, you can like things, but it's within the safety and confines of your event. And what it does is it actually kind of dampers the noise. The fact of the matter is there's a lot of stuff happening on social media, and I tell people all the time, look, if I'm on Facebook and I see a funny meme, your post, and a video of a dog juggling a cat, I'm probably going to pick on a video of the dog juggling the cat because that's pretty cool.
Or more money videos.
But I mean, that is the fact is that social media has become very noisy, and when you're in an event, you want the audience to focus, because let's face it, audience distraction is probably at its highest that it's ever been. I think
Distraction. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Everything distraction.
So you need to be able to really kind of create the atmosphere where people are comfortable in. They're comfortable to interact. They're used to interacting that way, but in a way that's really just focused on your messaging, your topics, your event, whatever it is. So it's really your private media channel.
Yeah, that's cool. So, how much, I don't know, this may be more for you, Kate, but how much social media is too much for an event? Like, can you go, way over the top? Too much?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can go over the top. It can feel spammy, but I think the point of social media in general is to make everything feel like an event. Every post should be, it should give it should have that underlying message. It should have what you're trying to portray. It should have the feeling like this is the most important thing on your news feed right now. There's no point in just posting to post. So if you're just posting to post, if you're 6 tweets a day about your conference, yeah, it's going to be noisy, it's going to be spammy, it's going to look silly, right? But if you're posting relevant
posts to get people to come to the event. You know, you're posting, you're going to get this out of the event. You're going to network with these people, meet these people, learn this, receive this. That's a relevant message. That's an event itself. You're gonna meet these professionals at this event. Boom, I'm going. That's who I want. That's what I want to be there. There's a point behind it. So, I mean, don't go crazy. Don't just be like, wow, I'm going to tweet to tweet. But, like, you know, if there's a message, if there's something there, then it's not too much.
And just real quick, and for the audience, is everybody here on Twitter? Is everybody here on Twitter, sort of? Yeah, so I know Tracy, so it's okay. This is not a confession, it was a poll. So the idea here is that not all of us, how many people are on Snapchat? See, half of us. Instagram? Yeah, there we go, a lot more. Facebook, still? No, it's huge, man, it's like still huge. And then, of course, LinkedIn, right, because we're all B2B, so most of us are B2B, so that's what's interesting is that as much as you try to do with social media, you work with social media, I still think I like this separation of having that mobile app. And then to Manny's point earlier about having the face-to-face piece of combining it. So it's an all-combined type of thing.
Well, and then I'm glad you brought that up too about the different social media platforms, because this is a conversation I have a lot with my team in terms of, like, you're not talking to people the same way on all the platforms, right? Like, I'm not going to invite Dean to an event the same way I'm going to invite, like my roommate who's here to the event. Like, I'm gonna offer different things because I know what he is looking for versus what he is. So it's the same thing on social media platforms. And I think a lot of people, I mean, us included, we get caught up in making the same post across the board. But if you're using social media the way it's supposed to be used, if you're using the hashtags and you're connecting to people, and you're leveraging your word count and everything, it's different conversations that you're having. So
seriously, post shape on LinkedIn too. If you don't, if you post anything that's even remotely not business, like on LinkedIn, I've seen some serious post shaming happening. It's like literally like 30 comments of people just be like, take that to Facebook. It's like, all right, relax. So
yeah, absolutely, no, that's perfect. It's different.
And one thing that I do for videos and for events is videos. So if I have a principal for a real estate office, for example, that I want to come, I will send them a Facebook video. And this all happened. I get ideas, I get weird ideas, and first you guys will meet me eventually after this. You'll see how I am. But I get a weird idea, and then I can't stop until I make it work. So somebody sent me a happy birthday. So somebody from like high school, from 2 years ago, just kidding, sent me a happy birthday, man, just a little video. And I was like, wow, that's the coolest video ever. I was happy for like, I was like cloud nine for the day since somebody from 15 years ago sent me a video. I was like, oh, so then I just started doing videos. And now I literally do them. Take 15 minutes out of your day when you're watching the cat videos or the stupid videos where people are wasting time. Stop that from your life and literally just like go through your list of happy birthdays and say, hey, Jim, happy birthday, bud. And you'll be surprised at the responses you're going to get from that stuff. Because now you're actually leaving something that's meaning something to these people. You're not just sending them a post. You're not just putting something saying, come to my event. Well, cool, everybody's going to put that on my Facebook wall or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever. But now if you're saying, hey, man, hey, Dean, you should come because we got this going on. Remember the guy that we played football with back in the day? He's going to be there. Oh, wow, now I'm going to go. So I'm going to always kick it back to personal stuff, and then they're the masters at social media and all that kind of stuff. I'm not knocking that at all because it's awesome. That's not how I do my business.
Well, and what's funny is you shot a video, you were one of the few people that shot a video prior to this event.
Oh, yeah.
And we're in the video streaming business. I don't even think we shot one. All of a sudden, I saw you walking around talking to your camera.
That was the first Facebook Live I did today. Just so you know, I've never done Facebook Live. I was like, man, what are you doing? I'm like, it's the first time I should try it. So I want to appeal to that. So one of the things that everybody's like, well, I'm not going to do that. That's not me. That's not for me. But I think we're in I want to call it a playground stage or era where I think the cool thing about this is to try new things, try different things, or partner up with people that want to do things with you. Maybe somebody wants to do more video and
and you want to learn more about how the camera works, or you want to use a Mevo like we're using here, or something like that, it's a curious time. I think it's a cool, curious time where there's a lot of apps. I mean, what is there? There's like 22 million mobile apps or something like that. Sorry, I know it's competition, but it's God bless you. You do so well among 22 million mobile apps, but there's 1,100 social media platforms that we track. 1,100. There's like thousands beyond that. But think about that, 1,100 social media platforms. So, but this is our time to really play, and I think that's the invitation here, is to make sure that we think outside the box, and you hear a nugget here. We want you to walk away and just try something different. Try something new that you haven't done before. You know, Facebook Live is new to you. So, thinking about that, there's a ton of other mobile apps besides Meetup, besides a social media platform. We have the question, what are some of your favorite tools to use to help either bring people to an event or work an event? Could be for registration, could be for marketing, could be for anything. But what are some of your favorite tools?
So we used Eventbrite a lot. It's very user-friendly. I'm learning, because I came from the world with like an e-commerce website, obviously, so I'm learning. Eventbrite's really easy to use. And you can, basically customize all of it down to the emails, when they go out, how they go out. You can embed the links, you can put pictures in it. So Eventbrite's really easy for event marketing. Obviously, I'm a social media person, so I'm going to say social media, but I just kind of want to
use social media tools too, right? Like posting tools and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, boosted posts.
Hootsuite, and what are some of the other ones that you use?
Oh, like scheduling platforms, yeah. We just moved over to Social Report, so we use that to schedule. YouTube live streaming is what we're using for this event. Jackson's got this really awesome tool in the middle of the room, but
it's a camera.
Yeah. Sorry. It's a tool. You asked about tools. So it goes straight to YouTube and Facebook, and it makes my life really easy, right? Because it does the social media for me. Thanks, Jackson. Snaps. And so I think that's really awesome. I'm spent. Next. Who's got a tool?
Man, I'm going to kick it back to people. All right, tools. Yeah, bribery.
Now I know we're in Chicago.
Back to people and bribery. A lot of stuff that we do is intellectual in my business, so to speak. No, intellectual. It's your brain. That's my brain. You're paying me for my brain and whatever.
Right, yeah,
so a lot of times what we'll do, it's valuable intellectual stuff. But ultimately, like say, I have an event going on, and we do videos, we do animation, and a lot of different things that we do for our clients. But we'll offer that as a bribe, so to speak, or a tool to get them to sign up. Hey, come sign up, come to this event. The first 5 people that sign up are going to get this. And then you'll be surprised, because more than 5 people probably get this. Everybody gets it. That's just a trick. I just failed to tell everybody my secret.
Hey, but hold on. What's the best this?
Well, I'd say video animation, logo animation, stuff that you can use on Facebook to post, as opposed to just a static image, or as opposed to just me saying, come to my event. If I posted something saying, a video animation where it's ultimately saying your event, and then this is a date and a countdown to it, well, that's something that's cool. It's going to grab your attention. By the time you flash it up on whatever social media platform you're looking, you can't skip it or you can't pass it because you already saw it. Does that make sense? I'm so fast, you already saw it. Oh, I can't delete this dude because I already saw him, and then it's already in your head. That, for us, is what we do. So we got people at the office that will knock those out all day, and that is what is invaluable for people that don't know how to do that, and then we'll give it to them. So we'll offer that to anything. And it depends on what the audience is also. So a lot of times if we have like a real estate thing or something for mortgage people, we're talking to them. So we know like, hey, you're going to list your houses, and I do my research before I talk to the people, and I find out what they're not doing well, and then I just give it to them. So that's, again, me going back to my business model. Manny's everything's for free at Piper Marketing model. But I just give it to them. I'll give them the first one. I'll give them a little taste of the stuff that we can offer them. And then they do come back. That's what I do.
Well, and I think we all do that level of, look, we're giving away our marketing toolkit, which has some of our top secrets in there about the sequence of how we market and fill events. And produce events and webcasts and things like that. So what are some other things that are cool hooks or to bring people in? I'm sort of curious about that too.
I don't know if this is considered a tool because I didn't know what a camera was, but what about early bird pricing?
Yeah.
Like advertising like a cheaper ticket if you register early. I mean, that's...
Well, I've now seen early birds.
Early bird, right. Like if you purchased it last year, you're free. Come on in.
No, that's a big thing now is
Yeah.
purchasing the next conference.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's been
and then just going back to that and thinking about like how we were talking about, you know, the invitations earlier, personally inviting people who came to last year's event or to the last event. You know, kind of like treating them like VIP, like you were here, we loved having you, thanks for this, you know, inviting them back. I think that goes a long way too. I don't know if that's a tool, but
we'll call it a tool.
All right.
It's not a camera.
So I actually want to add on this just because I see this a lot. In a lot of cases, especially associations, they'll usually have like sponsored guests. So what they'll do is they'll have a corporation or an organization that'll basically sponsor a ticket for someone, whether it's a student or whether it's, you know, somebody in a specific sector or some, you know, working sector. What they'll do is they'll basically have these sponsored guests. So essentially the attendee of the event is basically going for free on behalf of that company. So that's one method, that's an additional method that you can use. I mean, as far as driving people to an event, there's a lot of methods and a lot of tools that you can use. I mean, for us, what we've seen work, especially even with our customers that do more public-facing events or more kind of casual events, like you see here today, a lot of it is just about touch points and the type of touch points. So I mean, you can use tools like obviously social media, you can use MailChimp or Pardot. At the same time, you have to structure those touch points. Yeah, you might send the first one through Eventbrite, but then you do a follow-up through your email tool, but you set it up in a way where it looks like an intimate email, like I sent it from my mailbox, not as like a giant header with, you know, like basically like a newsletter. You'd be surprised how many people will actually think that, you know, hey, this is just for me, because and they do feel more special. So now they're going to respond back to you, whether or not it's a plus or minus. That's, you know, the fact of the matter is you got that touch point. So now you can maybe say, hey, you know what? Understand you can't make it for this one. How about the next one? You know, we have another one coming up, you know, in a month or two. So can I keep you on the list? That's what we see working as far as our events or even, you know, some of our customer events. I do think sponsored participants are definitely a way to go, though.
Yeah, in fact, those of you that when you're kicking off a new event or you have an event that you know, maybe you're not sure if you're going to get the attendance that you want, you know, a lot of times we'll say, you know, like we'll call it like a Kickstarter campaign where we'll, you know, give each of the sponsors 10 tickets and we'll give some of our people that have networks, you know, an extra 10 tickets, and then we'll have, you know, those people sort of create a wave, and then we just ask, you know, for them to play on social media with this, and then that usually creates a little bit of a energy, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, and then I have one more thing to add too. Also, one thing we do a lot at Social Jack is we offer the free events when we can. So like our weekly webcast, Influence Factory, you know, that used to be for paid clients, and we got great response, and it was only a limited amount of people that were on there, and then we opened it up, and we use that a lot to get people into other events, not just events like this that we host, but our clients' events. You know, we tell them like, hey, there's this awesome conference in Chicago, this AMAA conference, or FinTank has a conference coming up, we're part of this, come to these events. And so, you know, Manny mentioned giving them the taste, but you give them what you can for free, and then, you know, you invite them to the bigger things. So we do that a lot.
Yeah, for sure. We even had an event today at 11 with about 100 financial advisors and wealth managers on there, and we told them about AMAA, and we told them about Wealth Tech and some of the other related shows that had to do with that particular audience. But I think that's more of that piggyback thing.
I'm jumping in really quick. A lot of times too, it's sometimes back in the day I had a hard time explaining this to people, but they were worried about the $20 ticket price, and I'm worried about the spending $5,000 at the event commission To be honest with you, back in the day, that's what I was. So now we turned it over to, they're like, man, just do what you gotta do to fill the seats. So we gave away stuff. I'm like, I don't care if I lose money on these seats. If I make $25 off the seat and I'm losing $20 because I got to pay you back, I don't care because I'm going to make a heck of a lot more commission off of these people spending thousands of dollars at your event, which works. So sometimes you kind of don't necessarily think about it like, well, I'm losing money on a ticket. Do the buy one, get one free deals. Do the Groupon sometimes. There's some of those coupon kind of deal things because you're going to get people to show up. So those are people that want the deal, so to speak, to get to the event. And then at the event is when you use your personality and your brain and your product and your mobile app and your social media and your marketing stuff. That's when you hustle, so to speak, and do what you got to do and make the real money as opposed to the money that you're making at the entrance.
Yeah, so you're getting some Twitter action and Facebook action, just so you know here, Manny. So for being less social, I think you're getting some of the most action. Did you have something else to add to that, or?
No,
okay.
they just passed it back.
No, stay with Manny. So Manny, what's your coolest giveaway? Because you're like, to me, you're the king of giveaway stuff. So just so you know, some people are gonna like win some virtual reality stuff. He's got 3D cubes here that are like game.
Okay,
cubes.
there is no such thing as a super awesome thing, to be honest with you. There's no, like these, you guys.
How come the biggest guy in the room just got up and walked away?
That's my guy, just so you know.
Okay. Sorry.
I can't remember where it's at. This is just a cube. So for those of you that don't know what this is, some of you have shown, it's called a merge cube. I don't sell them. I did not invent it. But I got these for $1. So long story short, my long story shorts are always still long.
No, this is a great one though. So think of the opportunity here.
I was in Kentucky. I was at the Kentucky Derby. I go to Kentucky Derby every day. Hi, Greg. And I was in Kentucky. So I was in Kentucky at Walmart doing something, and I saw a whole wall of these cool cubes. And the packaging itself was awesome. I'm like, they're $1. I'm like, I don't understand why this is $1. It doesn't make sense. The box itself is worth like $2. I want them. So I bought one. I took it home. And if you look it up, those of you that are online, look up Merge Cube. But it's an augmented virtual reality thing that you do with your phone. So kind of like how a QR code gets read from your phone, this reads every side as a QR code. So as you're turning it, you're turning like a world or a castle or a little body and seeing how this guy's. So the coolest thing, like Yolanda's, I showed it to you earlier, coolest toy I've ever seen.
For $1.
For $1. So this isn't a tchotchke gift. You're not going to buy this at Vistaprint. You're not going to buy this at Pens.com. And I don't even sell these. But I went back the next day before the Derby. I'm like, hey, bro, we got to stop by Walmart before the Derby because I got to buy the rest of them. So I went back and bought like 200 of these, all of them, shipped them back to myself. And I give them to everybody now. So it's not necessarily, like, I literally, doesn't have to have a logo.
Doesn't have your name on it?
I don't care about that, but it's not necessarily, I don't care about, I care about Viper Marketing, it's my company. I don't care about you seeing my Viper Marketing all the time. I care about me giving you this and you showing everybody this super cool thing that I gave you and the feelings that you have associated with this. Dean said we're raffling off some of these, raffling off some VR headsets.
We're giving them away, there's no raffle.
Or giving them away, sorry. VR headsets. Those that are on clearance, some are for $5. There's a $40 VR headset with Bluetooth headset built in, don't care. It's the coolest VR headset ever.
With retractable earbuds.
I don't mess around, I got retractable earbuds. But I bought all those too, so now everybody in my office thinks I'm a hoarder, but I just give those to people. So when I have somebody that's an important person, or my Uber driver for that matter, I give, hey, here you go, bud. But I will get so many calls off of the weirdest things, which is this, which is that VR stuff, which if you see something at clearance somewhere, and I don't sell it, so this is kind of weird that I'm trying to tell you to buy stuff from other people, but buy it. If it's something that's going to leave a reaction with somebody, a feeling with somebody, it's more valuable than a potato chip clip. I've never had anybody say, man, that guy made it change my life with that potato chip clip. Never happened. If you're out there, just send me a tweet. Because I haven't met you yet. But these, I've gotten people call me back with these. I've gotten one of my new guys that we hired from the VR headsets. I've got a lot of response off the weirdest things. And then obviously when you sign up for our program, which you'll find out for those of you who look at your email addresses, we buy these and then I just get rid of them to everybody in my network, so you guys can use these for your clients and stuff.
Literally, when I was with him last time, he gave me a whole bag of them and said, here, give these to your friends. So that's one of the things, it feels like, how much money do we spend on giving things away, but I think there's also an in-kind thing message here where everything doesn't have to have your name on it, everything doesn't have to be, you know, super expensive. Sometimes it's just the gesture of giving something to somebody. And I'll tell you what, you know, these virtual cubes, you know, you take them home and next thing the kids are playing with them. You know, it's just, I don't know, I thought it was great for $1. I would have tried to find the other 200 that you didn't. So you do a lot, you help with a lot of signage. So if you look around the room, the step and the repeat in the back, those of you online, or maybe on this version of online, you can see it on this screen. But so the signs and the other signs and the other things that you see. So Manny, you do a lot of the signage, right? So, and you do it for us. So what seems to be the most impactful type of signage that you see out there?
We do a lot of digital signage too. So we do have the, obviously step and repeats, the banners, the static banners, flagpoles, banners, any kind of banner you kind of want, we have. But as you see outside, for those of you that are here live, and we'll kind of take a video for those of you that are online, we do a lot of digital stuff. So it's just a 32-inch monitor, but it'll be rotating with videos and images of something that's going to grab attention as opposed to just a sign that's just standing up and I'm not knocking those either because I sell those. But digital signage is a lot cheaper for us, so to speak, and it's going to get a lot more people going to your table because we'll have music at the table, we'll have the digital stuff going, we'll have a raffle. One time we did something where we had a digital sign, and then we had somebody talking, but we had somebody with a Bluetooth. There was a Bluetooth microphone that was behind the monitor, and we were just freaking out everybody that would walk by the table. Because they're like, hey, what's going on? But that would get so much response from people that they're like, oh, well, that's cool. Let's go stop by and talk to this weird guy. And then it just grows and grows from there. So it's not necessarily always the static stuff. Digital's awesome, and digital's a lot cheaper, to be honest with you, because we have a lot of programs where you'll just buy the one time, but then after that, when you say, hey, I'm going to a wedding expo or I'm going to this intimacy event or whatever kind of event I'm going to, that's going to be something that we're just going to customize your artwork for that specific event, as opposed to buying new signs and stuff that you're going to use one time. You're going to buy something that it's just going to go up on your digital signage, so to speak, and then we're just going to replace it the next time you do it.
Okay, so I have a personal question for you, not that personal, don't worry. So, so I am known as the busy sign guy. So you will never see just one or two words on my signs. So what do you see as more effective? So I have a lot of people that literally stop. Brett, you can paint on that sign right there. So literally stop, and they're like, they'll stop and they'll start reading down the sign, and I almost treat it almost like a, I don't know, mini blog post or something. But what do you see as most effective? Just the impact word up there, the name of the company? And I'm starting to see this go back and forth. Are you seeing any one word?
Unless if you're like McDonald's or FedEx or you pick something huge, for those of you who didn't know Viper, I can show you Viper marketing all day. You'll say, what's VPray? Like, I don't even understand what that is. It's not going to do anything right now. But ultimately, just touching what you're trying to attract, what the person's trying to get from you. So, for example, here, we're trying to get people to see what you do, Dean. So all your signs it makes sense that they're chock full of information because that's what I want to do when I'm.
That's what we do too. We help people.
That's what we do. So that makes sense to me. I like your signs.
All right, cool. Well, you do make them. So let's get some questions before we have prizes and pizzas. So any questions from the audience? Elise.
I was going to say, as a person who works in social media myself, I find that sometimes I write content that seems ingenuine. So how do you combat that?
So hold on. So Elise was saying that because they can't hear her on the mic. So you know, a lot of times she has to write content that feels disingenuous. So how do you combat that?
So are you talking like from a B2B standpoint, or?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So this is the thing that I battle with all the time, because social media came out and I was like, wow, social media, you know, you make your statuses like, Kate went to get a Monster, it was cool, and then it kind of turned into like business taking over social media, and then all of a sudden it was like busy, and it's just everything in your face, and everywhere you scroll there's an event, there's something to buy, there's a company, and so you know, this whole new wave of like how we're changing social media and we're bringing it back and we're making it social again. I think you just have to really make sure you're speaking with the voice that you're looking for. So you have to disengage from your voice. Like I'm not Kate when I'm posting about an event. I'm Social Jack or I'm whoever, but I'm capturing the voice of who I'm really talking to. I'm trying to put the wisdom out there, like what you're gonna get out of this, what you want, and I'm trying to lead with that voice. So it's hard to bring it around that way, but you definitely, the way social media is moving, we definitely need to make everything more social again and less salesy. And then in terms of that, another thing we see huge success with is not just the companies posting, right, but like the advocates within the companies. So you have these influencers, these higher end people within your company, the director, oftentimes you guys, the planners of these awesome events that are connected to the speakers, that are connected to different things. Post on your own behalf. Send out a Facebook post. And actually a really great example of that is Brianna Jacobs at Social Media Strategy Summit. We work closely with their virtual events, and she posts about her own event, so she uses her own voice. She doesn't have to change anything around. And I see her tweet all the time to people, being like, hey, you want to be a speaker at Social Media Strategy Summit, 2019 in LA? And she hashtags it. It's freaking genius. So maybe it's not about changing your voice, but, posting as a lead, like who are you and how would you invite people to this event?
And I think what you said right there too, just to sort of, expand on that, is it's conversational. If you can make it feel, it's supposed to be conversational, it's social. It's not supposed to be telling people to do stuff, but it's really just being, and that's what Brianna does really well with Social Media Strategy Summit, makes it conversational. I'm going to keep moving, so I'm going to take one online. How do you incorporate thought leadership component into your event, especially the promotional aspect of an event?
So, I'll take this one. So if you have an event and you have speakers, which you probably do, or influencers coming, maybe they're not, macro influencers like Kardashians, but there's somebody that has a network that other people want to come see speak, want to network with, want to meet, want to connect to. So if their blog, if they have a blog, if they have a website, use them, tag them in a post, tag something they've written about. We had Andy Crestadina from Orbit Media on the Influence Factory a couple weeks ago, and he had written a blog post not long before that about exactly what he was talking about, Influence Factory. So we shared it, we tagged him, we tagged his blog, and we got a ton of engagement on that. So that's a really easy way to tie in thought leadership in terms of promoting an event, because you're like, oh, check out this blog by J.D. Gershbein. He's been on Influence Factory. Watch his episode here. You're promoting your event, you're promoting him, you're promoting his topic, and of course, he's a thought leader, and you're proving that. So that's my answer.
Yeah, right. Carrie.
Yeah, Manny, I kind of kicking and screaming, I'm like you, a Facebook, face-to-face kind of person. And Dean kind of brought me to Jesus on social media.
Not just Jesus.
Well, not just Jesus. But I really, it was a rough experience for me to adopt that same experience of engaging with people in social media the same way I'm like you, a face-to-face guy. But listening to the voice that you can become different voices, but you still have to maintain that authenticity if you want to maintain the connection and that same feel that you're having with a face-to-face.
Yes, and I always tell my clients.
The second half of the question is, you are someone who is, even today was walking around for the first time adopting Facebook Live. You're incorporating these pieces into the same relationship-based experience of marketing or engaging with people, and that's to me what I'd like to hear from you is how you're incorporating, or how you have
how I'm incorporating social media in the new wave of stuff.
And some of the other stuff you talked about.
Well, I'm really, to be honest with you, you guys will swear, I'm really relatively new to the social media world. We've always been a referral business for 10, 11 years. We only work with people that either we've been referred from somebody or somebody we worked with in the past. So that didn't really need to deviate from that, to be honest with you, because that worked exceptionally well, and it still does. I just wanted to grow, and now that's just get out of my comfort zone and do stuff. And not, as you guys saw me, I talk to everybody, and I have no problems going up to anybody at all. However, I got more. It's weird for me to go on Facebook Live, to be honest with you. Like, and I'm not, but if I do it, then I'll do it. Like if
You did a very nice weird. I just want you to
Yeah, thank you. So, but I just get out of my comfort zone and do stuff that I haven't done before. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to do now.
Well, and I just want to say, since you outsource social media to us, I want you to keep that distance. You're right about it, the right place.
Yeah, Dean does all my stuff. I have a lot of clients we got hundreds of clients that use Dean services. They get it through us, and then Dean's the one that works the magic, and Kate Dex is the one that works the magic.
David?
I'm hearing a lot of issues that relate to me as well, in terms of, you've got the technology and the tools to promote a message. So we're dealing with, okay, we've got tools. I don't have the skill sets of those tools. I'm learning a little bit about, okay, what are these digital channels we're talking about? Facebook, Twitter, all these sort of tool sets. And then there's the messaging part, which I think is a challenge when we think about it globally, because they're chaotic. But as I was listening to you, I started thinking, is there a template or a framework to help decipher the context of, do we have our message down? Is our message accurate? Number two is, where is your audience that you need to attract? So now, with the where is the audience, you can see if the channels are proper to identify. After you do that, what technology? How do we put the skin around the technology? So basically, in short, is there a framework or a roadmap or some sort of template that is available?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the very?
No, it's in your event marketing toolkit.
Yes.
It's in there. You go. For all of you, by the way, you all get that. So, great question. Let's take another one online. Best way to market a small event with limited seats? Well, technically, this is a small event with limited seats. I think the answer is have us webcast it for you. Broadcast it. So, but I mean, to market it. So they drive the people in here. So, what do you think is the best way to do that?
So mind if I sort of elaborate. So I'm a mortgage banker. Want to get realtors or other people associated with that, and I want to I could blast it out to everybody, and like a numbers game and play the numbers, but also I want quality people to come, and then also it's getting used to it. So this will be our second event. First one went well. Second one is like to try and make sure that I'm creating the right pattern so that I can start attacking those relationships and start putting a value on these. Unfortunately, we're all doing this to create relationships, to create value, which equals money, lives, pages.
Yours is probably one of the, Viper started because originally I was trying to offset from my original company, and I wanted to I do a lot of real estate marketing. So it was VIP real estate marketing, which is why it's VIP already. Now it's stemmed into like a lot more stuff, so it's VIP ridiculously excellent marketing. Just so you know. But yours is easy because that's what we do. That's what I started doing. To be honest with you, mortgage people and realtors. But it's just targeting the audience. Like the Gold Coast people are going to be completely different people than the Benson or the Barrington people, completely different people than the Lamont people. So now if you're targeting the people that are in a specific area for a small venue, it's like a home buyer event or how to teach realtors how to market or make more money. Whatever you're doing, it's easy to look up realtors statistics. Do you want to go to the number one person in the office? No, because they're already too good for everybody in the history of the universe. But you want to go to a mom and pop shop that doesn't have the support or somebody like you going up to them because you're going out to all the big companies, and now you're helping them, and you're not going to somebody saying, I want this, I want this, I want this, I need this. No, you're saying, hey, let me help you. let me try to assist you in building your business and help you grow, and then we can do it together, which ultimately is how we like the market.
Well, and just to add on to that too, LinkedIn is so great for finding exactly who you want to talk to, right? You can search down to friggin' their shoe size, I swear. You can search everything about them, who's connected to them that's also connected to you, and so find who you want to work with, find the people that you want to target, and then reach out to them personally. Hey, I'm having this fantastic event. I think we can form a great partnership. I'd love to have you there. And get somebody to connect you if you have to, and just find them how you can and invite them personally.
So how many people received a LinkedIn message from me? Just a few? Okay. So there's Facebook messaging, there's Twitter direct messaging, there's all kinds of ways to get around the inbox. So there's personal inviting, and as you can tell, most of you got a phone call, we're not afraid to pick up the phone. So I think there's all those tactics really have to go together, but the personal invite is best. Okay, one more question in the room, but here's what we're going to do, because we want to get to the prizes and the pizza, and then we're going to, stick around. We're going to stick around for a while, so you can personally ask questions. Let me take one from the back here.
Yeah, so I'm a marriage and family therapist. I'm the relationship person here. Julia here is my colleague as well. But my question is because the type of audience that I'm trying to reach is obviously clients, mental health clients, relationship-oriented clients. So that's not something I can really host an event for and be like, hey, everybody with problems, show up in this room and we'll talk to you about it. I could, but it might be a little illegal. So I want to know more about like how I can use some of these tactics, like the social media with, I guess I could even event plan for like referral sources, but how to really figure out the two-tiered process of reaching the audience that's going to get me clients and reaching the audience that is my clients. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. So obviously yours is going to be a little bit tricky, and I know we have somebody else that's kind of in your field in the room that does event planning, so I was already thinking, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but Yolanda, that you guys would team up and maybe have some things, but I'm guessing that yours is mostly referral basis already, like your field, because people don't like to just post on Facebook, like, hi, name therapist. It's a little different. So
I don't know, on my page.
well, we just know that from looking at your page. So maybe what it is, well, no, not maybe. What it is establishing you as that thought leader via social media. I don't know if you have a website or a blog or if you're planning to do so, but the referrals will come when you are that trusted source, when you are that influencer. So I think it all starts with wherever you decide to market your personal brand and define it and run with it, and that's yours. And execute it, as best as you can on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever you plan to be. And once you're that person, I like to call it the curiosity click, but that's essentially what you want. You want to be that person that's sharing the relevant content about your brand, about your field, what you do. You want to have those events that invite people who might be also probably in your field. But then once people have it in their brain, like they're connected to you on LinkedIn, like, oh, Josh is the family and marriage therapist person, they're going to click on what you're talking about, they're going to click on your blog, and then that's going to be a referral. So I think in your case, it's more of making you that person to your network and connecting to the other networks, and then the referrals are going to come inward that way.
Yeah, I like that. One more from over here. I saw a hand up over here.
Yes. So when I get the opportunity to talk to people that have, an experience in a field that I don't really, I always ask them, like, do you have any book recommendations? Something that can give you the competitive advantage, in this space. I'm in finance, but I'm also involved in a handful of startups outside of that this knowledge could be really useful for. Do you have any book recommendations that could essentially be of use for me?
I'm not a big book guy, I'm not going to lie to you. But no, I do talk a lot of Tony Robbins. I'm a motivational kind of guy. I do a lot of Tony Robbins stuff. For those of you who know who Tony Robbins is, Anthony Robbins. But I just do, Gary Vee. There's a lot of blogs. In the car, I don't listen to too much music. I always listen to something that's either going to pump me up or get me excited. So a lot of times I'll have, for those of you who know Gary Vee, stuff that's going to get me excited and give me going. So even when I'm coming here, I'm not listening to Drake. I like Drake, but I'm not always listening to him. But I'm listening to something that's going to get me psyched up. Books, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big book guy, but I am an audio book guy. But I will do a lot of stuff. So I do a lot of stuff that's different, like motivational kind of things. Something that's going to teach me something. So if I want to learn more, and it's embedded in your head if you can't not listen to it while you're driving something.
So yeah, I live in Chicago, I take the train, I don't read, but I listen to podcasts. And there's an influencer marketing podcast that's really great. It's this couple, it's called The Influencer Marketing Podcast. It's this couple that works with influencers across the world, and they work with people who throw events, and lots of great nuggets of wisdom on there. And then, of course, shameless plug, Influence Factory podcast. You can get it on Stitcher and Spreaker and iTunes. But we have awesome guests all the time. Some people in this room have been on the show. We've had people from McDonald's. Yeah, JD, awesome guest. He has a great episode. Ellie Deutsch from McDonald's. Tons of people that could give you way better nuggets of knowledge than me, probably. So, yeah, podcast.
I am more in the technology space. Obviously, we're a technology startup. Some of the, actually a few books that kind of come to mind. Accelerated Disruption by Eric Lefkowski. I think that's an amazing book. It's great if you're ever into just product development or even process development. Really makes you think differently on how to constantly disrupt what you're doing to figure out, are you doing it as good as you can be, and how do you piece it back together again to make it more efficient. The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs, always liked that one. Thought that one was an amazing book. Really kind of got into the emotional part of how Jobs took something that may not even have necessarily been that groundbreaking or him new to the market with, but really made it their own. And I have a background in human-computer interaction, so there's a ton of publications out there around that. So essentially, how do people interact with technology, and then in turn, how does it change them behaviorally over time? There's a lot of online publications. Be more than happy to toss your way.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Excellent.
All right. Let's hear it for our panelists, huh? So both online and in the room here, we're going to make sure that we collect all the questions. And as you ask questions, we're actually going to be doing a blog post where we'll summarize all the questions that we had in here. And if you continue to have questions, if you hashtag Influence Factory, we'll make sure that we get the speakers to help respond to those questions. And can I see, especially online here and in the room, who's going to win some of these prizes that we have? Okay, cool. Manny, how many drawing do we have from you? 9? Okay, yeah, come here. What the heck? So we're going to draw for online as well as in the room. So Jackson, do we have, so for online winners, do we have online winners here? No, I know. Hold on, we have some online winners. Okay, so Mega Hamill is a winner. Make sure you come on. Manny, we already have a winner. Come on, Manny. Oh, by the way, that phone call from Jen, this is Jen, everybody. Winner must be present, so
David Guerra, sorry, I cannot say the first name. Garrett.
Alex, don't cover the camera. All right.
Dr. Owen.
All right.
augmented reality, virtual reality.
But I'm cheating.
Yeah, I know. I'll turn it around. We're mixing them up, I swear we're mixing them up. Wait, I'm in this.
Disgusting.
What?
Yeah.
I'll give it to him.
Okay, good.
Joshua Waters.
Wait for the people online.
Adam Kritikos.
Adam.
Tara Rosenberg.
Tara Rosenberg. Is Tara still here? Run, run, run.
Elise Mary Ellen. John Kritikos.
Oh my gosh. It's the Greek mafia.
It's the car, that's what it is.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Business card with key.
George Kotick. Christine Neal.
Christine Neal. Don't worry, because the ones that are left in here, there's over $500 in prizes coming in.
Wait, I got one more.
Victor Lopez. Cindy Bertram. Matt Messick.
All right.
I hope you like Starbucks. All right. Yeah, no good. Now, we're going to draw for, we have two $300 event influencer coaching sessions, which means somebody will get you step by step to either put butts in seats, or we're going to give you direct access to our coaches, who usually, it costs a lot more to get that, so you're going to get several coaching sessions. So for whatever your next event is, they're going to be right there with you.
Natalie Joy.
Natalie. Kate, you see this lovely lady in the middle? You're going to see her, and she's going to make sure you get connected up, okay?
Coach Kate, by the
Coach
way.
Kate, by the way.
Nick Terziski.
Nick! Jackson, you have selected your winners online, so you got your winners online?
No, you already called.
Oh, you got them all? Okay, good. All right, well, listen, okay, so what we're going to do, thank you to everybody at home and all of those, especially your relatives in Italy. What we're going to do is we're going to, no, we're not drawing.
I thought you were drawing something else, like there's another one? No, sorry, guys.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take a group photo up front here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to dismiss everybody to get pizza and some more beverages. And networking, of course, we talked about partnering up. Make sure you find at least 5 good partners here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get you one at a time to go back by the step and repeat, turn around, look at the wall back there. And then you can shoot a promo video for whatever event you have coming up. I know some of you have events, right, Terry? So whatever event, whatever product, whatever service you want to tell the world about, and we will post it out to all of our social channels. and that's over 65 million person reach.
We'll make you look good.
Yep, so yeah, you can make it whatever you want. So we'll have you do that. But first, you have to come up front all at once, and then we're going to take a picture.
Oh, wait.
What?
Oh, wait. You left me with the microphone, thanks. Before we take the group photo, we want to do one last thank you to our great sponsors for this event.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, because we have Sal from Meet App. Yay, Sal. Nanny, the face for Facebook, from Marketing. And Michelle Gustin from
Michelle Gustin, Big Media, video, commercials, and artwork. Artwork. Stand up from us so everybody knows who you are.
Here you go, Miss Michelle. Yeah, we'd love for you to.
Yes, thanks. It's lovely to be here. We love Dean. Big Media makes media that matters. We spend a lot of time strategizing with people to make things work for their company. So that's us.
Yes, we love Big Media.
We love Big Media. Michelle and James are great people. So if you're in the need for that, make sure you find her at the networking event. Connect to both of them on LinkedIn. James Gustin, Michelle with 1 L Gustin. We love them. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, group photo.
So now everybody up there for a group photo. Let's go.
You wake me up.
Last time I saw you was at your spirit event last year.
Come on up, don't be shy. Jackson, you can do it from over, so we want all the team members in here too.
Yeah, I know. I'm letting everyone get in.
Okay. Social Jack team members, let's go. Don't be last. Social Jack team members. Calling all participants.
What happened?
I didn't put on foundation.
Jackson, you gotta send your Can you see it? Oh, you can see us. So Jackson's actually looking at this through this camera, through this. It's just amazing. Can you see all of us? Really? All right.
We're all good.
1, 2, 3, cheese.
All right. So cheese. You want to just keep saying cheese?
No, Social Jack on 3.
Hold on. Are we running video too?
Yeah.
Oh.
That video, I'm just going to edit a picture out of it.
Okay, good. Well, everybody smile at once. All right, and then let's do on 3. Let's do I'm an influencer, right? On 3. No, I'm an influencer, and then thank you, Social Jack. Everybody up for that? You ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3.
I'm an influencer. Thank you, Social Jack.
All right, let's have some pizza and cocktails.
It's good for me to connect with him, considering like he has experience in that.